Sevastopol, Crimea, June 1942, 05:20 hours. A German infantry company advances across open ground. 250 soldiers, confident, well armed. They have orders to capture a strategic hill overlooking the Black Sea port. The hill appears undefended. No visible fortifications, no machine gun nests, no artillery, just rocks and scrub brush baking in the early morning sun. The Germans advance in textbook formation, rifles ready, eyes scanning for targets, officers consulting maps, sergeants maintaining intervals between squads. Then a shot rings out, a single crack from somewhere on the hillside. A German lieutenant falls, dead before he hits the ground. Bullet through the head at 400 meters. The company hits the dirt. Officers shout orders. Soldiers scan the rocks through iron sights. Where did the shot come from? No muzzle flash. No visible shooter. No indication of position. 30 seconds pass in tense silence. Another shot. Another German soldier drops. This time a sergeant. Same result. Headshot. Instant death. 500 meters. The Germans are confused now. Frightened. They cannot locate the shooter. The shots seem to come from different positions, different angles, as if multiple snipers are coordinating fire from concealed locations across the hillside. But it is not multiple shooters. It is one person. A Soviet sniper, 25 years old, female. And here is what terrifies the German survivors who will report this engagement to their battalion intelligence officer later that day. She is not reacting to their movements. She is shooting before they appear in her sight line, as if she knows where they will be 3 seconds before they arrive there. Officers stepping into the open to rally their men. Machine gunners moving to new firing positions. Soldiers seeking cover behind rocks that she somehow anticipated they would choose. It was as if she could see the future. One German veteran will write in his diary that night, "We were not fighting a sniper. We were fighting a ghost who knew our thoughts." Over the next 40 minutes, the German company takes 12 casualties, all from single shots, all at ranges exceeding 400 meters, all striking targets the moment they expose themselves. The attack fails. The company withdraws in disorder. The hill remains in Soviet hands. Her name is Lyudmila Pavlichenko. Over the next 8 months, she will kill 309 German soldiers. She will become the most lethal female sniper in human history. Adolf Hitler will personally issue orders for her capture. German commanders will send entire squads to hunt her down. But the real story is not the kills. The real story is how she always knew where they would be. The answer lies in something she learned at age 19, in a university library in Kiev, studying history. Learning a technique that would transform her from a competitive target shooter into the most feared sniper on the Eastern Front. A technique she is using right now in June 1942 as she watches the German company retreat through the precise mental map she has built of every rock, every depression, every sight line on this hill. A map she can see with her eyes closed. A map that exists only in her mind. 18 months earlier, that map was just an academic exercise, a way to pass exams in medieval warfare, a historian's tool for understanding how battles unfolded across terrain. Now it is a weapon, and it is about to change the mathematics of modern warfare. The lecture hall at Kiev University holds 47 students. History department, 3rd year. Professor Dmitry Krasnov stands at the front unrolling a massive map across 2 tables. The Battle of Grunwald 1410, one of the largest medieval battles in European history. 39,000 men. Polish and Lithuanian forces against the Teutonic Knights. The map shows every detail. Forest positions, river crossings, hill elevations, troop deployments marked in meticulous period detail. Professor Krasnov surveys his students with the measured gaze of a man who has taught this course for 23 years. "Your assignment," he says, "memorize this battlefield. Tomorrow you will redraw it from memory. Every forest, every hill, every river, every troop position. No notes, no reference materials, pure recall." Groans from the students. The map covers an area of 6 square kilometers, thousands of individual tactical elements. Professor Krasnov holds up his hand for silence. "This is not busy work," he continues. "Great commanders do not just study battles. They internalize battlefields. They close their eyes and see the terrain, 3-dimensionally, from any angle. They can predict where troops will move before those troops begin moving, because terrain dictates tactics. Geography shapes history." He taps the map with a wooden pointer. "If you cannot visualize a battlefield completely, you cannot understand why men died where they died. You cannot grasp the tactical decisions that determined victory or defeat. History becomes just dates and names. But if you can see the battlefield, really see it, then you understand. Then history becomes alive. In the third row, Lyudmila Pavlichenko leans forward, 23 years old, dark hair pulled back in a practical bun, intense eyes focused on the map with absolute concentration. She has been the top student in this class since enrollment, not because of some supernatural gift for memorization, because she works harder than anyone else, because she cares about understanding not just what happened, but why it happened. For the next 2 hours, she studies the map, not just looking, studying. Her method is systematic, methodical. First pass. Identify major terrain features. The forests designated by heavy tree symbols, the rivers shown as blue lines with directional flow arrows, the hills marked with elevation contours, the villages represented by small black squares. Second pass, note the spatial relationships. How far from the forest edge to the river, which hills provide line of sight to which valleys? Where do natural choke points exist? Where would cavalry find good ground? Where would infantry struggle? Third pass. Trace likely movement patterns. If Polish forces deploy here, they must advance along this route because that route is blocked by marshland. If Teutonic Knights position here, they command these sight lines but expose their flank to attack from that direction. By the end of 2 hours, Lyudmila has not just looked at the map. She has walked through it mentally. She has become the battlefield. That evening in her dormitory room, she closes her eyes and reconstructs the map from memory. Every forest, every river, every hill. She draws it on paper, checks her work against her notes, corrects errors, draws it again. Most students will remember 40 to 50% accuracy tomorrow. Lyudmila achieves 94%. Professor Krasnov notices immediately when he reviews her submission the following afternoon. He calls her to his office after class. "Miss Pavlichenko," he says, studying her drawing with evident fascination. "This is remarkable work. How did you achieve this level of detail?" "I built a 3-dimensional mental model," she explains. "I do not just remember the map as a flat image. I remember the battlefield as a space I can move through. I can see it from any angle, from ground level, from elevated positions, from the perspective of different commanders." Professor Krasnov sets down the drawing and looks at her with new interest. "You have a rare gift," he says. "Not photographic memory. Better. You build spatial models. You internalize geography at a level most people cannot achieve. This is not just useful for history. This is a tactical skill." Lyudmila does not fully understand what he means. Not yet. But she will. Over the next year, she refines her technique. Every battle she studies becomes an exercise in spatial modeling. Waterloo, Austerlitz, Gettysburg, Stalingrad during the Russian Civil War. She studies maps until she can walk through the battlefields in her mind, until she can predict where commanders would position forces, where attacks would come, where defenses would concentrate. Her professors call her papers cinematically vivid. They say she writes about battles as if she was there, as if she watched them unfold in real time. She is not just recounting history, she is recreating it. In the spring of 1941, she writes her undergraduate thesis on siege warfare. The title, Predictive Analysis of Defensive Positions in Urban Terrain. The abstract contains one sentence that will prove prophetic. To understand battle, you must become the battlefield. You must know every rock, every tree, every angle of fire. Only then can you predict where men will die before they die there. Her thesis advisor calls it brilliant academic work. Little does anyone know. In 4 months, Lyudmila will use this exact methodology, not to analyze dead battles, to create them. But first, she needs to learn to shoot. That part of her story begins earlier, much earlier. The Soviet Union is in the grip of forced industrialization, factories rising from farmland, cities swelling with rural workers, the Communist Party promoting youth programs to build a new socialist society. One of those programs is marksmanship training. Every Soviet youth is encouraged to learn to shoot, boys and girls alike. The reasoning is practical. A nation that can shoot is a nation that can defend itself. The party establishes shooting clubs across the country, provides rifles, provides instruction, provides competitions. Lyudmila joins the Kiev Youth Shooting Club on a whim. Her friends are joining. She thinks it might be interesting. The first time she holds a rifle, she discovers something unexpected. She is good at this. Very good. The rifle is a small caliber training weapon. The targets are paper circles at 50 meters. Simple shooting, breath control, sight alignment, trigger squeeze. Most beginners scatter their shots across the target. Lyudmila puts 9 out of 10 rounds in the center ring. The club instructor, a Red Army veteran with a weathered face and missing 2 fingers on his left hand, watches her shoot with growing interest. "You have steady hands," he observes. "Good eyes, natural breathing control. Have you shot before?" "Never," Lyudmila says. The instructor nods slowly. "Then you have talent, rare talent. Do not waste it." Over the next year, Lyudmila becomes obsessed with shooting. She practices 3 times a week, then 4 times, then daily. By age 16, she is competing in regional matches. By 18, she is one of the top competitive shooters in the Kiev Oblast. She does not brag about this, does not seek attention. She simply enjoys the precision, the mathematical purity, the complete focus required. When she is shooting, the rest of the world disappears. There is only the rifle, the target, and the solution to the problem of placing the bullet exactly where she intends. It is not so different from building mental models of battlefields, she will realize later. Both require absolute concentration. Both reward patience. Both demand the ability to see clearly what others miss. By 1940, when she enrolls at Kiev University, Lyudmila has logged hundreds of hours at shooting ranges. She has won multiple regional competitions. She has refined her technique to the point where she can hit targets at distances most recreational shooters consider impossible. But she has never shot at a living thing, never killed anything. That is about to change. Operation Barbarossa begins. 3 million German soldiers cross the Soviet border, the largest invasion in human history. Luftwaffe bombers strike Soviet airfields. Panzer divisions punch through defensive lines. The Red Army, caught by surprise despite months of intelligence warnings, begins to collapse. In Kiev, Lyudmila wakes to the sound of air raid sirens. By noon, the city is in chaos. Radio broadcasts announce the invasion. Civilians crowd the streets. Some flee. Some line up to volunteer for military service. The Communist Party mobilizes every resource. Total war has come to the Soviet Union. Lyudmila stands in her dormitory room listening to the radio with her roommate. The announcer is calling for all citizens to defend the motherland. All able-bodied men to report for military service. The announcement does not specifically mention women. But Lyudmila is already making her decision. She has spent a year studying siege warfare, urban combat, defensive positions. She knows the theory of how cities are defended. She knows where snipers position, where machine guns deploy, where artillery observers hide. And she can shoot better than most soldiers. The combination seems obvious to her. She tells her roommate she is going to volunteer. Her roommate thinks she is joking. Women do not become soldiers. They become nurses, medical assistants, support personnel. Lyudmila is not joking. She walks to the Red Army recruiting station on Khreshchatyk Street. The line stretches for 2 blocks. Young men, old men, teenagers lying about their age, all waiting to enlist. Lyudmila joins the line. When she finally reaches the recruiting desk 3 hours later, the officer behind it looks up from his paperwork with evident surprise. "We are processing combat volunteers," he says. "The medical auxiliary station is 2 blocks east." "I am not here for medical service," Lyudmila replies. "I want to be a sniper." The officer stares at her for 3 full seconds. Then he laughs. Not cruelly, just reflexively. The idea seems absurd to him. "A sniper," he repeats. "Yes," Lyudmila says. The officer shakes his head. "Miss, we need nurses. We need factory workers. We need women to keep the home front functioning while the men fight. We do not need female snipers." Lyudmila does not raise her voice, does not argue. She simply says 2 words. "Test me." The officer stops laughing. He looks at her more carefully, sees something in her expression, a quiet certainty that gives him pause. Several other soldiers at nearby desks have stopped their work to watch this exchange. One of them, a sergeant with a rifle instructor badge on his collar, speaks up. "Let her shoot," the sergeant says. "If she cannot hit targets, send her home, but test her first." The recruiting officer sighs. "Fine." He stands. "Come with me." They walk to a shooting range behind the recruiting station. A simple setup. Sandbag firing positions. Paper targets at various distances. The range is crowded with new recruits learning basic rifle handling. The recruiting officer hands Lyudmila a Mosin Nagant rifle. Standard Red Army issue. Bolt action. 5-round internal magazine. No optics. Just iron sights. The rifle is heavier than the training weapons she used at the shooting club. Longer. The wood stock is scarred and worn. This is not a competition rifle. This is a tool designed for war. The officer points down range. "There are targets at 200 meters, he says. "Hit them." Lyudmila checks the rifle, opens the bolt, confirms the chamber is empty, closes the bolt, tests the trigger pull, feels the weight distribution. She has never fired this specific model before, but the fundamentals are universal. She loads 5 rounds from the stripper clip the officer hands her. The brass cartridges slide into the magazine with smooth metallic clicks. She chambers the first round, settles into a standing shooting position. The recruiting officer expects her to struggle. Most untrained shooters cannot hit man-sized targets at 200 meters with iron sights. It requires precise sight alignment, breath control, trigger discipline. Lyudmila aims. Her breathing slows. Her heart rate drops. The world narrows to the front sight post, the rear sight notch, and the target beyond. She fires. The rifle bucks against her shoulder. The report is sharp and loud. Downrange, the target shows a fresh hole. Center mass. The officer blinks. "Lucky shot," he mutters. Lyudmila cycles the bolt, chambers the second round, fires again. Another hole. Center mass. 4 centimeters from the first. She fires the remaining 3 rounds in smooth succession. 4 seconds between shots. Professional speed. Controlled. Precise. All 5 rounds group within a 10-centimeter circle in the center of the target. The shooting range has gone completely silent. The recruits training nearby have stopped. 50 men, all watching. Rifles lowered, mouths open. One of them whispers loud enough to hear, "What the hell was that?" The sergeant with the instructor badge walks downrange himself, needs to see with his own eyes. He inspects the target, measures the grouping with his fingers. 10 centimeters, 5 rounds, 200 meters, iron sights. He has been training shooters for 15 years. He has never seen anything like this. He walks back slowly, looks at Lyudmila like she has appeared from another world. "Ma'am," he says, respect in his voice now, not condescension. "Where did you learn to shoot?" "Kiev Youth Shooting Club," Lyudmila replies. "I have been competing since age 14. I can provide documentation." The recruiting officer cuts her off. His face has changed completely. No more amusement, no more skepticism. "That will not be necessary." He turns to the sergeant. "Assign her to 25th Rifle Division, sniper training, immediate deployment." The sergeant hesitates. "Sir, she's—" "I know what she is, and I know what I just watched. Get her processed, now." The sergeant nods. "Yes, sir." The recruiting officer looks at Lyudmila one more time. "When can you start?" "Now," Lyudmila says. And somewhere in that moment, surrounded by 50 silent men standing on a shooting range with smoke still rising from her rifle, Lyudmila Pavlichenko crosses a threshold she can never uncross. She is no longer a university student who knows how to shoot. She is a weapon the Red Army just discovered it desperately needs. She does not know it yet, but she has just signed death warrants. Either her own, or 309 German soldiers. The difference will be determined by one critical advantage. She can see battlefields in her mind before the battles begin, and very soon she will learn to turn that gift into the most effective killing technique on the Eastern Front. Lyudmila arrives at the front with minimal training, 2 weeks at a sniper school, just enough to learn camouflage techniques, range estimation, and the PE-4X scope mounted on her Mosin Nagant. The instructor is a veteran from the Winter War with Finland. Hard man, seen death, dealt death. On the final day, he pulls Lyudmila aside. "You can shoot," he says, "better than most men I have trained. But shooting paper targets and shooting men are different things. The first one will be hard. After that—" He shrugs. "Either you continue or you break. No way to know until it happens." Lyudmila nods. She understands the theory, but theory and reality are different countries. She is about to cross that border. August 15th, 1941. Dawn. Odessa. Under siege. Lyudmila is positioned in a bombed-out apartment building 4th floor. Her sector overlooks a German advance route. She has been here since 0400, waiting, watching. Through her scope she observes German positions, movement patterns, shift changes, officer inspections. She is not hunting yet. She is studying, building her mental model of this battlefield. By 0600 she has mapped the sector completely, every building, every rubble pile, every sight line. She can close her eyes and walk through it, see it from any angle. Now she is ready. 0730 hours. A German officer appears, 300 meters away, consulting a map, exposed, unaware. Lyudmila watches him through her scope, crosshairs on his chest. Her breathing slows automatically, heart rate drops, finger moves to the trigger. Then she stops. Her hands are shaking. This is not a paper target. This is a human being, a man with a name, a family somewhere in Germany, maybe a wife, children, a mother who hopes he comes home. Her instructor's words echo, "The first one will be hard." Lyudmila forces herself to think tactically. This man is an invader. He came to her country. He commands soldiers who are killing Soviet defenders. If she does not kill him, he will kill others. This is mathematics. This is survival. She steadies her breathing, acquires the target again. "I am sorry," she whispers, squeezes the trigger. The Mosin Nagant cracks. 300 meters away, the German officer drops, dead before he understands what happened. Lyudmila's first kill. She watches him fall through the scope, watches him lie still. Then she vomits, shaking, sweating, cold despite the summer heat. She has just killed a man. Her platoon commander finds her 20 minutes later, sees the dead German, sees Lyudmila's condition. "First one," he asks. She nods, unable to speak. "It gets easier," he says, not unkindly, just stating fact. He is right. By the end of the week, 5 kills. No vomiting. By the end of the month, 23 kills. She keeps a detailed log. Dates, times, ranges, conditions, like a farmer recording harvest yields. Except these are not crops. These are men. But she has learned to compartmentalize, to see them as tactical problems, to predict their movements before they make them. Her mental battlefield model allows her to pre-position, to wait where enemies will appear, to shoot them the moment they expose themselves. It is devastatingly effective. By September, 50 kills. By October, 100 kills. The Germans notice. Intelligence reports mention the girl sniper. Radio intercepts refer to her. Counter-snipers are sent to hunt her. She kills them too. One German officer becomes obsessed, tracks her patterns, studies her methods, positions himself where he predicts she will appear. He waits 3 days. On the 4th day, Lyudmila appears exactly where he predicted. But she has anticipated him. She deliberately showed herself. Bait. When he raises his rifle to shoot, she is already aiming at his position from a different angle. She fires first. He dies instantly. Kill number 67. By late October, Odessa is evacuated. Soviet forces withdraw to Sevastopol. Lyudmila goes with them. 187 confirmed kills. Promoted to senior sergeant. And now she faces a new battlefield. Larger, more complex, more dangerous. Sevastopol, where she will meet her greatest challenge. An enemy who thinks exactly like her. December 1941. Sevastopol under siege. Lyudmila Pavlichenko arrives with the Odessa evacuees. 187 confirmed kills behind her, a reputation that precedes her like smoke. The other snipers expect her to start hunting immediately. She does not. For the first 2 weeks, her kill count stays frozen at 187. Her platoon commander grows concerned. "Pavlichenko, are you injured? Shell-shocked?" Lyudmila looks up from her notebooks. "No, sir, I am studying." "Studying what?" "The battlefield." Sevastopol is different than Odessa. 10 times larger, more complex. The industrial district alone covers 3 square kilometers, demolished factories, twisted metal-collapsed smokestacks. The harbor district warehouses, gutted by fire cranes, bent like broken fingers, half-sunk ships creating artificial islands. The residential zones, apartment buildings with facades sheared off, exposing rooms like dollhouse cross-sections. Most snipers see chaos. Lyudmila sees a puzzle waiting to be solved. The first week she walks. Every street she can safely access. Dawn patrols, dusk reconnaissance, night movements through rubble. She sketches constantly. Elevation changes, sight lines, dead zones where neither side can observe. Building collapse patterns, which structures lean, which direction, creating predictable cover. The second week, observation. From multiple positions, watching how Germans move through the terrain, which routes they prefer, which buildings they avoid. Where they position machine guns, rotate sentries, gather for briefings. By week 2's end, Lyudmila has what she needs. A complete 3-dimensional mental model of her operational sector. Eyes closed, she can walk through it, see it from any angle, predict movement before it happens. Week 3. Her kill count begins climbing. 187, 195, 203, 212, 221, 229, 240. Each kill more precise than the last. German casualty reports show a disturbing pattern. Officers dying at 3 times the rate of regular soldiers. Artillery spotters eliminated within minutes of taking position. Machine gun crews killed before establishing fields of fire. Not random sniping. Systematic dismantling of German tactical capability. One German battalion commander writes in his diary, "The Odessa ghost has returned, but here she is worse. She knows where we will be before we arrive, as if she can read our orders." Closer to truth than he realizes, Lyudmila is not reading orders. She is reading the battlefield, and the battlefield tells her everything. January 1942, German Army High Command. Weekly intelligence summary.
Buried in casualty statistics, Sevastopol sector showing anomalous sniper activity. Report quote, Soviet sniper operations demonstrate pre-positioning capability inconsistent with reactive engagement protocols. Target selection indicates advanced intelligence of German movements. Recommend specialized counter-sniper deployment. The report crosses the desk of Oberst Wilhelm Hoffmann. He reads it 3 times, then makes a phone call. 2 days later, Hauptmann Klaus Richter boards transport to Sevastopol. Richter is 42, too old for regular combat by Wehrmacht standards.
But Richter is not regular combat. He is a specialist. WWI veteran, survived Verdun, the Somme, the Spring Offensive. Decorated for valor, Iron Cross, first class. But more relevant intelligence background. Spent 1919 to 1939 analyzing Soviet military doctrine for German army intelligence. When war started, he requested field deployment. I studied Soviet tactics 20 years. I want to see them firsthand. His superiors agreed. He proved exceptional. 156 confirmed kills on Eastern Front, not as dedicated sniper, but as infantry officer who happened to be expert marksman. More importantly, he never stopped analyzing. Every engagement notes, enemy tactics, movement patterns, decision-making indicators. War is chess, he told his men. The side that thinks 3 moves ahead wins, the side that reacts loses. Now, reading Sevastopol intelligence, Richter sees something others miss. Not lucky shots, predicted strikes. He studies casualty data, overlays on maps, sees the pattern. This Soviet sniper is reading our patterns, he tells Hoffmann. Every unit has routines, patrol schedules, shift changes, relief protocols. This sniper has identified them all. Hoffmann. How do you know? Richter points to map. Machine gun crew killed here exactly 4 hours after previous crew. Standard rotation interval. Artillery spotter killed here 15 minutes before scheduled bombardment. Time it takes spotters to position and range find. Officer killed here during morning inspection when exposed. Looks up. We are not fighting a sniper, Herr Oberst. We are fighting an intelligence analyst with a rifle. Hoffmann stares at map. Can you stop her? Yes. But first I must become unpredictable. Richter arrives Sevastopol, January 18th, 1942. Brings 12 men. Hand-picked. Not just marksman thinkers. Men who understand tactics, not just shooting. First order. Everything changes. Patrol routes, timing positions. No more patterns. No more routine. German Unteroffizier Schmidt questions, so consistency helps coordination. Richter cuts him off. Consistency helps enemy kill you. From now on, we embrace chaos. Within 48 hours, German operations in Sevastopol sector transform. Patrols depart random intervals. 30, one day. 20, next 11, 43rd. Routes change daily. Supply convoys use different roads. Officers conduct inspections from covered positions never exposed. Machine gun crews rotate irregularly, sometimes 3 hours, sometimes 7, sometimes 90 minutes. Artillery spotters use multiple positions, never same one twice in sequence. Richter has weaponized unpredictability. 600 meters away in a bombed-out apartment building, Lyudmila notices immediately. Her kill rate drops, usually 3 to 4 per day. Now 1 to 2 per day. Something changed. Germans moving differently. She studies notebooks. Patterns identified, disrupted. Routines broken. Predictable movements gone. After 1 week, Lyudmila writes in journal, Germans have changed. Movement now erratic. Patterns dissolving. Someone is countering my methodology. Someone who understands what I am doing. This is new. This is dangerous. This is interesting. Underlines last word twice. First time since Odessa Lyudmila faces opponent who thinks like her. February 1942. The duel of methodologies begins. Richter implements controlled chaos. Appearance of randomness, but with underlying logic he controls. Lyudmila adapts. If patrol pattern's changing, she stops tracking patrols. Escalates 1 level higher. She tracks the pattern changer. Reasoning. Randomness is not random. Someone makes decisions. Decision makers have positions, command posts, observation points. If I find where orders originate, I find who gives them. 3 days studying German positions from extreme distance, not looking for targets, looking for command infrastructure. Identifies it. Elevated position in partially destroyed factory. 3rd floor sightlines to multiple German sectors. Officers coming and going. Map consultations. Radio operations. That is command observation post. Through Mosin Nagant's scope she sees him. Older officer. Grey at temples. Medals on chest. Distinctive command presence. appears at observation post multiple times daily, always scanning, always studying battlefield. That is him. That is who is changing patterns. Lyudmila does not shoot immediately. Watches. Studies his routine. Because even someone creating randomness for others has own patterns. Over 1 week, notes, Richter arrives observation post between 700, 7:30, morning inspection, stays 15 to 20 minutes. Returns between 1400, 1500, afternoon assessment, stays 10 to 15 minutes. Occasional evening visits, inconsistent timing. Morning visits, most predictable. February 18th, 1942, 07:15 hours. Lyudmila in position since 0500, 2.5 hours. Motionless. Waiting. 600 meters to observation post. Extreme range for iron-sighted shooting, but she has optics. Wind 8 kilometers per hour from east. Temperature 4 Celsius. Bullet drop at this range approximately 1.2 meters. Calculated everything. 07:22 hours. Richter appears. Walks to window. Raises binoculars. Scans Soviet sector. Lyudmila watches through scope. Crosshairs on chest. Breathing slows. Heartbeat steady. Finger on trigger. Begins squeeze. Richter steps back from window. Disappears inside. False alarm. Repositioning, not leaving. Lyudmila waits. 30 seconds. 45. 1 minute. Movement catches eye. Not at observation post. Behind it. Different window. Different angle. Richter appears there instead. Changed positions inside building. Lyudmila readjusts. New angle. Slightly different range. 620 meters now. Wind effect changes with angle. Recalculates rapidly. Aims. Begins squeeze. Richter moves again. This time visible only 3 seconds. Crossing past window. No clean shot. Lyudmila realizes he is not staying still, moving constantly inside building, never exposed more than few seconds. Intentional. Counter tactics. He knows she is out here somewhere, making himself impossible to hit. 07:28 hours. Richter appears at exterior doorway. Ground level. About to leave building. 4 seconds exposure crossing to covered vehicle position. Lyudmila swings rifle down. New target position. 615 meters. Ground level. Moving target. Leads target. Accounts for walking speed. Calculates intercept point. Squeezes trigger. Mosin Nagant cracks. Bullet flies. Richter dives. Bullet hits wall 12 centimeters from where his head was. Rolls behind cover. Men pull him inside vehicle. Speeds away. Lyudmila watches through scope. Missed. First missed kill shot in 241 attempts. Both now understand something critical. She knows he exists. Knows he is disrupting her method. He knows she is targeting him specifically. Knows she found his position. Game has become personal. The note exchange. Next morning, Lyudmila returns to frequently used position, collapsed building basement with entrance through rubble. Finds something that should not be there. Piece of paper. Folded. Weighted with rock. German soldiers were here. In her position. While she was elsewhere. First instinct, trap. Booby trap maybe. Approaches carefully. Checks for tripwires. Pressure plates. Nothing. Just note. Unfolds it. Written in Russian. Handwriting educated. Precise. Fräulein Sniper. You shoot well. Better than anyone I have encountered on this front. You also predict well. Your methodology is impressive. Study patterns, build mental model preposition for ambush. Tactically sound. But you cannot predict chaos, and I am very good at creating chaos. Let us see who is better student of war. With professional respect, KR. Lyudmila reads 3 times. Someone has been studying her same way she studies Germans. Someone understands her methodology. Someone is countering it systematically. KR, Hauptmann Klaus Richter. She will learn later from Soviet intelligence intercepts. For now, just initials. That evening, Lyudmila writes response. Leaves in different position, one she knows Germans patrol past, but have not occupied. Writes in German, studied it at university. Herr Hauptmann, you create chaos well, but chaos is merely pattern I do not yet understand. I am historian. I study battlefields. I find patterns in everything. Crusades, Napoleonic wars, even your randomness. Every decision reveals something about decision maker. I am learning about you now. With professional respect, LP. Leaves weighted under shell casing. Calling card. Richter finds next day. Reads. Smiles despite himself. She is good. Very good. Writes back, LP. Then let us test your learning. I will show you pattern. You will prepare ambush. But pattern will be false. We shall see if historian can distinguish real from deception. KR. What follows over next 3 weeks? Unlike anything either combatant experienced, not just shooting, psychological warfare, mental chess with bullets. Day 1 to 3, German supply convoy leaves depot. 0900 hours, same route each day. Predictable. Day 4. Lyudmila positions for ambush along route. 0845 hours. Ready? Convoy does not come. Instead, I know 5 gunfire behind her position. German counter-sniper team positioned where they predicted she would be, firing at her probable location. She is not there, 100 meters displaced, watching from secondary position. Sees trap, does not engage, withdraws silently. That evening finds another note, close, but I know how you think. KR. Lyudmila studies Richter's deception, realizes he created pattern specifically for me. 3 days consistency to build expectation, then break it. Formulates counter-deception. Deliberately misses shot. Not at Richter at random German position, high and left. Obvious miss for someone of her caliber. Miss in specific location, visible from certain German positions. Wants them to think she is positioned in building X, that is where shot came from. Richter investigates, studies trajectory, calculates probable firing position. She is in apartment building 4th floor northeast corner. Positions counter-sniper team to watch that building. But Lyudmila is not there. 400 meters different direction entirely. Deliberately calculated false trajectory, fired from angle, making it appear she was elsewhere. Now watches Richter's counter-sniper team. Exposed, waiting for her in wrong location. Kills 2 before they realize. Leaves note next day. You taught me that deception works. Thank you for lesson. LP. Richter finds it. Reads. Actually laughs. She learned. Of course she learned. She is scholar. Writes back. I am honored to have such excellent student. Shall we continue education? KR. Day 12. Richter creates elaborate fake patrol pattern. Visible obvious tempting target. Lyudmila recognizes as trap. Does not take bait. But Richter anticipated she would recognize it. Real ambush is not at fake patrol. At position he predicts she will use to observe fake patrol. Meta-level thinking. Lyudmila arrives at observation position. Immediately senses something wrong. Position feels exposed in way it did not before. He is watching where I watch from. Does not enter position. Circles to different vantage point. Sees German counter-sniper team positioned exactly where she would have been. Stalemate. Neither shoots. Both withdraw. That night, no notes. Both combatants in command posts, thinking. Lyudmila writes in journal, he thinks like I think, predicts my predictions. We are reaching equilibrium. Neither can surprise other. Game may come down to who makes first mistake, or who gets lucky. I do not like relying on luck. Richter writes in journal, she adapts faster than anyone I have encountered. Every deception I use, she learns. Every pattern I break, she finds new pattern. This is not war, this is intellectual duel. I respect her enormously. Under different circumstances, I would have liked to know her. Discuss military theory, share perspectives. But circumstances are these, and one of us will die. Neither knows other is writing almost identical thoughts. 3 months of mental chess have led to this. Both Lyudmila and Richter have identified each other's most probable positions. Both are positioned. Both know approximately where the other is. Neither can get a clean shot. This is the problem with fighting an opponent of equal skill. It becomes war of attrition. Who has more patience? Who makes the first mistake? May 15, 0530 hours. Lyudmila has been in position since 0400. Collapsed factory building, 2nd floor, reinforced concrete position with excellent sight lines. Across the sector, 720 meters away, Richter is positioned in a bombed apartment complex. 3rd floor, multiple rooms to move between. Both have scoped rifles. Both have experience. Both have patience. 0600 hours, no movement. 0800 hours, still nothing. 1200 hours. A full day shift of Soviet and German soldiers rotates around them. Neither sniper shoots. They are hunting each other, not random soldiers. 1600 hours, 10 hours in position. Most snipers would have moved by now. Cramps, fatigue, boredom. Neither Lyudmila nor Richter moves. 1900 hours, dusk approaching. In 1 hour, visibility will drop. 1945 hours, darkness. Still no shot. Both withdraw under cover of night. Day 1. Stalemate. May 16th. Dawn. Both return to their positions. 0700 hours. Richter decides to test. He positions a mannequin German helmet on stick-in window. Crude decoy. Lyudmila observes through scope. Sees it immediately for what it is. Does not shoot. 08 and 30 hours. Lyudmila creates her own decoy. Uses mirror to reflect sunlight from window position. Looks like scope glint from distance. Richter sees it. Recognizes deception. Does not shoot. Both are too experienced for basic tricks. 1400 hours. Stalemate continues. 1700 hours. Artillery bombardment begins unrelated to their duel, just general siege warfare. Both snipers remain in position. Shells falling around them. Neither withdraws. This is commitment. This is obsession. Lyudmila thinks, he will not leave until this is finished. Neither will I. Richter thinks, she is as stubborn as I am. This will end when one of us makes mistake, or dies. Day 2 ends. Still no shot. May 17th, third day. Fatigue is setting in. Neither has slept more than 2 hours at a time. Both are operating on adrenaline and willpower. 0600 hours. Soviet artillery strike targets German positions. Random bombardment. Not coordinated with Lyudmila. One shell hits near Richter's building. The building shakes. Dust and debris fall. For 3 seconds, Richter is forced to move to a more stable position. Lyudmila sees the movement, swings her rifle, acquires target. But the shot is through 2 panes of broken glass and across thermal layers cold outside, relatively warmer inside building. Refraction will affect bullet path. She does not have clean ballistic solution. Does not shoot. Richter relocates to safer room. Repositions. Near miss. Both know it. 1100 hours. German counter-battery fire responds to Soviet artillery. Shells land near Lyudmila's position. The building trembles. Concrete dust fills her lungs. She has to shift position slightly within her room. For 2 seconds she is visible to Richter's sightline. He swings his rifle, acquires target. But she is moving, and there is a steel beam partially obscuring her. Ballistic solution unclear. He does not shoot. Another near miss. Both are getting closer. The margin of error is shrinking. 1800 hours. Day 3 ends. Both remain in position overnight. No withdrawal. 72 hours. Minimal food. Minimal water. No sleep. This is beyond professional. This is personal. May 18th. Dawn. 0530 hours. Golden hour. The light is perfect for shooting low-angle minimal glare. Good contrast. Both snipers are exhausted. 96 hours of near-constant vigilance. The human body is not meant for this. Richter is 42 years old. Age is a factor. His hands have a slight tremor from fatigue. His eyes burn from staring through optics for 4 days. Lyudmila is 25. Younger, but also reaching her limit. Her shoulder aches from holding the rifle. Her neck is stiff. Her vision blurs occasionally from dehydration. Something has to break. 547 hours. Richter makes a micro-adjustment to his rifle position, trying to get more comfortable. The movement is tiny, maybe 2 centimeters. But it catches the rising sun. His scope lens reflects light for 0.3 seconds. Lyudmila sees it. After 96 hours of waiting, she finally has target confirmation. She knows exactly where he is. She aims, compensates for 720-meter range, wind from east at 6 km, temperature 8 Celsius, bullet drop 1.4 meters at this distance. She holds her breath, slows her heartbeat, everything she has trained for, begins trigger squeeze. At the exact same moment, Richter sees movement in Lyudmila's position, a shadow shift, barely perceptible. He aims, same calculations, same compensation, both fire within milliseconds of each other. 2 rifles crack almost simultaneously. Lyudmila's bullet travels 720 meters in 0.9 seconds, strikes Richter center mass through the heart. Instant death. Richter's bullet travels 720 meters, passes 8 centimeters from Lyudmila's head, impacts the concrete wall behind her. Fragments spray her face with stone dust. Through her scope, Lyudmila watches Richter fall backward. She sees him collapse, sees him die. After 4 days of chess, it came down to this. She saw his scope glint 0.3 seconds before he saw her shadow. That fraction of a second decided who lived. Lyudmila does not feel triumph. She feels exhaustion and something else. Respect, sadness, the death of a worthy opponent. She keeps watch on his position for another hour, making sure it is not deception. No movement.
He is dead. Lyudmila finally allows herself to move. Her joints crack. Her muscles scream. She drinks water for the first time in 8 hours. Her notebook entry that day: kill number 309, Hauptmann Klaus Richter, range 700 Ping-20. 4-day engagement. Most difficult kill of my career. He was exceptional. Under different circumstances, we might have been colleagues. Instead, I killed him. That is war. I feel no pride. Only loss. Lyudmila is at peak effectiveness. 309 confirmed kills, the most feared sniper in Sevastopol.
German forces have standing orders. Do not expose yourself unnecessarily. The Soviet sniper is still active. She is operating from a rubble position in the industrial district. Good sight lines, covered approach. She has been here for 3 hours. Routine reconnaissance. No high-value targets visible. Just monitoring German activity patterns. 14:30 hours. She hears it before she sees it. The whistle of incoming artillery, German bombardment, daily occurrence. Usually she can gauge where shells will land by the sound. This one sounds close. She starts to move. The mortar round lands 15 meters from her position. Not a direct hit, but close enough. The explosion is massive. Shrapnel storm. Fragments of metal traveling at supersonic speed. Concrete chunks launched like missiles. Lyudmila is thrown against the wall. Pain explodes across her body. Left side of her face. Deep lacerations. Blood immediately flooding her eye. Right shoulder, something embedded. Shrapnel. She can feel it grating against bone. Left rib cage. Burning pain. Multiple impacts. Her hearing is gone. Just ringing. Constant high-pitched tone. She is conscious enough to know she is badly hurt. Without aid, she will bleed out in maybe 30 minutes. She drags herself towards Soviet lines, using elbows, pulling with her right arm. Left arm is not responding correctly. 50 meters of crawling. Every meter agony. Soviet patrol finds her. Medic, it's Pavlichenko. She's hit. They carry her to the aid station. Medics are shocked she is alive. Compound fracture left orbit. Shrapnel embedded right scapula. Multiple penetrating wounds left thorax. Severe laceration left quadriceps. 3 emergency surgeries over the next 2 days. She survives, but her combat career is over. Soviet Medical Board, left eye function compromised. Shoulder mobility insufficient for rifle work. Combat deployment no longer viable.
The random mortar round accomplished what 309 German soldiers could not. It ended Lyudmila Pavlichenko's time as a sniper. Not skill, not tactics, not even a worthy opponent. Just random chance. 1 artillery shell. One of thousands fired that day. Not even aimed at her. Just there. War does not care about your skill, she will later write. War does not care about your intelligence. War is chaos, and chaos eventually touches everyone. While Lyudmila recovers in the hospital, Soviet forces conduct an operation to clear German positions in the sector where Richter died. They recover his body. Standard procedure. Check for documents. Intelligence value. They find identification papers confirming Klaus Richter Hauptmann Wehrmacht. Maps with detailed annotations. Journal with tactical observations. And in his breast pocket folded carefully, 2 items. First item, a letter, unsealed, addressed to no one. It reads, "If you are reading this, I am dead."
If Lyudmila Pavlichenko is reading this, you were better, or luckier. In war, the difference is academic. I want you to know you were the most challenging opponent I have ever faced. Your methodology is exceptional, studying battlefields as historian, then applying that knowledge as warrior. Brilliant. I spent 3 months trying to counter you. Every tactic I employed you adapted. Every deception I created you eventually saw through. You think faster than I do. You learn faster than I do. I am 42. You are 25. Age is a factor, but more than age, you have a gift. Spatial memory combined with analytical mind, combined with patience, combined with absolute precision. Rare combination. Under different circumstances, different war, different sides, or no war at all, I would have liked to know you. Discuss military theory. Compare perspectives. Perhaps collaborate on tactical doctrine. You approach war like an intellectual exercise. So do I. We are a rare breed.
But circumstances are these, and one of us had to die. I hope it was me, because if you died, your method dies with you. My method is standard German doctrine. Replaceable. Your method is unique. It should be preserved. Taught. It will save lives. Tell future students war is not about shooting. It is about thinking. The soldier who thinks 3 moves ahead survives. The soldier who reacts dies. You thought 4 moves ahead. That is why you are reading this, and I am not. With professional respect and genuine admiration, Hauptmann Klaus Richter. P.S. The note exchange was the most intellectually stimulating correspondence of my military career. Thank you for that. Second item, his journal, open to the last entry, dated May 14th, 1942, one day before the final duel began. Tomorrow I will either kill Lyudmila Pavlichenko or she will kill me. I have prepared as thoroughly as possible, studied her patterns, predicted her probable positions.
Calculated every variable I can control. But she has done the same. We are equally matched. The outcome will depend on microscopic factors. Who sees whom first? Who has steadier hand? Who gets lucky? I find myself hoping strangely that if I die, it is by her hand, not random artillery, not disease, not age. She is a worthy opponent. To die in battle against a worthy opponent is a soldier's honor. She has taught me that intelligence defeats strength, that studying history prepares you for the present, that memory can be a weapon. I wish we had met in peacetime. I would have enjoyed the conversation. These documents are forwarded through Soviet intelligence channels. Eventually they reach Lyudmila in the hospital. June 15th, 1942. She reads Richter's letter sitting in a hospital bed, left eye bandaged, right shoulder in sling. She reads it 3 times. Then she cries. Not from pain, from loss. The loss of the only person in this war who understood her. Who saw war the way she did? Who valued thinking over fighting? She keeps both documents, the letter and the journal entry. For the rest of her life they will be among her most treasured possessions, not because they are from an enemy, because they are from someone who respected her mind. In 1974, when she dies, these documents will be found in her desk drawer, preserved carefully, reread countless times over 32 years. On the journal entry she had written in the margin in pencil her own note. I wish we had met in peacetime too. You were right. The conversation would have been extraordinary. LP. Soviet command sends Lyudmila to America. Not to fight, to inspire. She does not want to go. I want to stay, train new snipers, pass on the method. Command refuses. You are more valuable as a symbol than as an instructor. The Americans need to see Soviet strength. You will show them. Lyudmila has no choice. Culture shock hits her like artillery. The city has lights at night. Actual electric lights. Not blacked out. Not bombed. People walk streets without fear, without scanning rooftops, without checking for cover positions. There is food, abundant, restaurants open, grocery stores stocked. She has been in Sevastopol where people ate sawdust bread and considered themselves lucky. This is a different world. August 12, 1942. First official meeting, U.S. Army Intelligence. Small conference room, 5 officers. Colonel James Harrison leads the meeting. Ms. Pavlichenko, we have read the reports. Your kill count is extraordinary. But we are more interested in your methodology. Lyudmila, my methodology. The intelligence analysis, the predictive positioning, the cognitive battlefield mapping. Lyudmila realizes they do not just want inspiration, they want technique. Harrison continues. Our understanding. You create 3-dimensional mental models of terrain. Use these models to predict enemy movement. Position yourself in advance. Is that accurate? Yes, sir. I study battlefield like historian studies maps. I internalize the terrain. Then I predict where enemy will appear based on tactical logic. Can this be taught? The methodology, yes. The mental modeling requires exceptional spatial memory. Not everyone has this capacity. We would like you to demonstrate. They bring out a map. Fictional battlefield. Created specifically for this test. Coastal terrain. Mixed urban and rural. Defensive positions marked. Enemy approach routes hypothetical. Study this for 30 minutes. Then we will test your retention. Lyudmila studies the map. Not casually. Intensely. She traces sight lines with her finger. Marks elevation changes mentally. Identifies dead zones. Predicts movement corridors. After 30 minutes, they remove the map. Harrison asks, from defensive position, Alpha, can you see enemy position? Charlie. Lyudmila closes her eyes, walks through the mental model. No, sir. Building at grid 12B blocks direct line of sight, but you can see it from defensive position Beta, 3rd floor, eastern window. Correct. Best route for enemy flanking maneuver. Lyudmila. Approach from north using tree line at grid 8A. Dead zone in defensive coverage between grid 14C and 15C. Width approximately 40 meters. Enemy could penetrate here unobserved if they move during shift change. Harrison checks the map. That is exactly right. You identified the deliberate weakness we built into the scenario. Another officer. Where would you position a sniper? Lyudmila. 3 optimal positions. She describes each in detail. Ranges, sightlines, cover, escape routes. When she finishes, Harrison leans back in his chair. Ms. Pavlichenko, this is intelligence analysis at a level we have never seen. You processed that terrain faster than our trained analysts, and you did it from memory. Lyudmila, this is what I do, sir. I am historian. I study how battles develop based on terrain. I apply this knowledge tactically. That evening in her hotel room, she writes, Americans want my method. They see it as tool, as technique. They do not see the cost. They do not understand. This method requires remembering everything, every position, every kill, every face. You cannot build perfect mental model without perfect memory. And perfect memory means you never forget. They want the power without the burden. I do not know how to explain. The two cannot be separated. The gift is the curse. 5,000 people. War bond rally. Soviet-American friendship event. Lyudmila has given 37 speeches in the past 2 months. Same talking points, same stories, same audience questions. She is exhausted, not physically, mentally. Every city, same questions. How many did you really kill? How does it feel to kill a man? Aren't you afraid? Do you have a boyfriend? The last question particularly irritates her. As if 309 kills matter less than her romantic life. But tonight is different. Tonight she has reached her breaking point. The speech starts normally. She reads from prepared remarks. Soviet resistance, American support, alliance importance. The audience is polite. Applause at appropriate moments. Then the question period begins. First question, man in his 50s. Miss Pavlichenko, how do we know you actually killed 309 Germans? That seems impossible for a woman. Lyudmila's prepared response. Soviet records confirm all kills. Battalion commanders verified each. He interrupts Soviet records. Soviet propaganda, you mean? You are here to convince us to support Stalin. How do we know any of this is real? Others join. Yeah, prove it. Show us evidence. This is communist propaganda. Lyudmila feels something crack inside. 2 months of performing, of being a spectacle, of having her service questioned, of polite smiles while people doubt her. She steps away from the prepared remarks. You want proof? She unbuttons her collar slightly, shows the scars on her face, neck, shoulder. This is proof. Shrapnel. May 25th, 1942. Sevastopol. She pulls a photograph from her pocket. Her in the hospital, bandaged, bloody. This is proof. But you want more. You want to know if woman can really kill 309 men. She pauses. The auditorium is silent. Gentlemen, I am 25 years old. At the front, I killed 309 fascist invaders over 8 months. Her voice rises slightly. You ask how I know, I will tell you exactly. Kill number 1 German officer. August 15th, 1941. Odessa. 300 meters. Morning. He was reading a map. He never saw me. Kill number 67 counter-sniper. Bavaria. Church Tower. September 3rd. He hunted me for 3 days. I was more patient. Kill number 187. My last kill in Odessa before evacuation. October 14th, 1941. Machine gunner. 450 meters. He was changing barrel. Poor timing. Her voice is steady but intense. Kill number 309 Hauptmann Klaus Richter, May 18th, 1942, Sevastopol, 720 meters, 4-day duel, best opponent I ever faced, I shot him through the heart. The audience is completely silent now. You want to know how it feels to kill a man? She stops reading. This is not prepared. It feels like nothing. And that is what terrifies me. First kill, I vomited, I shook, I cried. By kill 50, I felt less. By kill 100, I felt nothing. By kill 309, I was a machine. Her voice cracks slightly. I can tell you about each one, each position, each distance, each condition. You know why? Because I have perfect spatial memory. I remember battlefields perfectly. And men I killed are part of battlefield now. I close my eyes, I see Sevastopol. Every street, every building, and in every position, a face. 309 faces. I remember them all. She is not crying, but her voice is raw. You ask for proof. Here is proof I can describe in detail how I killed 309 human beings. That is not propaganda. That is burden. The man who questioned her starts to speak. Lyudmila continues, but you want to know real question, not how many I killed, not how I did it. Real question is, why was I needed? She looks directly at the audience. I am 25 years old. I should be finishing university, becoming historian.
teaching students. Instead, I killed 309 men. Not because I wanted to, because fascists invaded my country, because someone had to stop them. And here is what I want to know from you, gentlemen. She pauses, scans the crowd. Do you not think you have been hiding behind my back for too long? The silence is absolute. Soviet Union has been fighting since June 1941, 16 months, millions dead, cities destroyed, and we fight alone. You asked me to prove I killed 309 Germans. I have proven it. Now prove to me, what have you done? She steps back from microphone.
3 seconds of silence. Then the auditorium erupts. Standing ovation. 3 minutes. People shouting, crying. But Lyudmila does not feel triumphant. She feels empty. She just weaponized her trauma for propaganda. She walks off stage. Soviet handler tries to congratulate her. That was perfect. Exactly what we needed. Lyudmila pushes past him, finds empty room, locks door, and collapses. Everything she has suppressed for 8 months surfaces. The kills, the deaths, Richter, the 309 names, Sevastopol, the men who died, the men she killed, all of it. She sobs for 20 minutes, first time since May. Lyudmila is having breakfast in hotel when Soviet handler arrives. His face is grim. Pavlichenko, news from Sevastopol. She knows immediately. It fell. Yes, July 4th. We delayed informing you. Did not want to affect the tour. 4 months ago. They kept it from her for 4 months. Casualties. Severe. Estimated 90% of defenders killed or captured. Lyudmila's hands shake. Do you have names? My unit. We have partial lists. I can get them for you. 2 hours later, she receives the casualty report. 25th Rifle Division, Sniper Section. She scans the names. Sergeant Dmitry Sokolov, KIA July 3rd, 1942. Corporal Yevgeny Petrov, KIA July 2nd, 1942. Private Ivan Fedorov, KIA July 4th, 1942. Sergeant Anna Kozlov, KIA July 4th, 1942. She knew these people, fought alongside them, shared trenches, shared rations, all dead. She kept reading. 47 names she recognizes, all killed in the final assault. She would have been there. If not for the mortar round, if not for her injuries, she would be dead with them. Survivor's guilt crashes over her. Attempts to return to active duty denied. Medical evaluation. Shoulder mobility insufficient. Vision compromised. Combat deployment not recommended. New assignment sniper instructor. Training facility outside Moscow. She teaches for 3 years, 1943 to 1945. Trains over 200 snipers. Passes on her methodology, battlefield mapping, pattern recognition, predictive positioning, cognitive modeling. Her students go to the front. Many survive because of her training. One student, Yevgenia Koval, becomes highly effective. 143 confirmed kills by war's end. Yevgenia credits Lyudmila. She taught me to think, not just shoot. To study battlefield like chessboard. To predict 3 moves ahead. That training saved my life hundreds of times. But Lyudmila cannot teach them one thing. How to forget. Your memory will preserve every kill, she tells them. Accept this. Live with it. It is the price of survival. Lyudmila is 28 years old, feels 58. She returns to Kiev University, completes her history degree, becomes historian, researcher, eventually professor. She studies military history, ironically, the subject that saved her life. She publishes papers on siege warfare, defensive tactics, cognitive aspects of combat. Her academic work is respected, but she never mentions her own combat experience in publications. 1950s, 1960s Soviet propaganda continues featuring her. Books written, most inaccurate, exaggerated, dramatized, films made. She hates them. They make it look glorious. It was not glorious. Journalists request interviews. She mostly declines. When she does agree, her answers are consistent. Do you regret killing 309 men? 1943. I did my duty. 1955. I did what was necessary to defend my country. 1968. I survived. That is all. But in 1972, 2 years before her death, her answer changes. I was 24 years old. They were young too. Average age maybe 22, 23. War made us into things we were not meant to be. I became efficient killer. They became targets. Neither of us chose this. Politicians chose war. Soldiers fought it. I am not proud of 309 kills. I am sad that I was needed. She knows her time is limited. She spends final weeks organizing her papers, donating materials to military archives, her notebooks from 1941 to 1942, maps, kill logs, photographs, and Richter's letter. She donates this too. History should know about him, but she keeps one document private, an essay unpublished, titled A Historian's Reflection on Killing. Excerpt. I studied battles for years before I created one. Medieval sieges, Napoleonic campaigns, WWI trench warfare. I learned that battlefields have patterns. Terrain dictates tactics. History repeats. What university did not teach me? How heavy memory becomes when it contains death. I have spatial memory that lets me reconstruct battlefields perfectly, see them from any angle, walk through them mentally. That same memory preserves every kill. I cannot forget them. Kill number 1 is as clear as yesterday. Kill 309 is permanent. Perhaps that is justice. If I could forget, perhaps I could forgive myself, but I cannot forget. So I remember. All 309, every face, every position, every moment.
That is my sentence. And perhaps that is appropriate. I killed efficiently because I remembered everything. Now I must remember the killing, forever. The gift is the curse. The weapon is the wound. I see some histories call me hero. They misunderstand. Heroes in stories defeat evil, save innocence. Triumph. I killed 309 men. Most were conscripts, following orders, like me. There were no heroes in Sevastopol, only survivors and dead. I survived. That makes me lucky, not heroic. The real heroes are the ones who did not come home, who died defending their country, who sacrificed everything. I sacrificed too, but I lived. And living with 309 kills is its own kind of death. Every day I wake up. Every day I see Sevastopol. It never leaves. That is price of perfect memory. You remember everything. Forever. Would I do it again? Yes. My country needed defenders. I defended.
But if young woman today asks me, should I become sniper? I would say, only if you can carry 309 faces forever. Only if you can live with perfect memory of imperfect necessity. Only if you understand you will survive the war, but the war will never leave you. That is truth they do not put in books. Lyudmila Pavlichenko, March 1974. She dies October 10, 1974. Age 58. Heart failure. Buried with full military honors. Statue unveiled. Lyudmila Pavlichenko. In recognition of service 1941 to 1942. Veterans attend. Historians, military officials, students. Plaque includes quote from her 1972 interview, I did not kill 309 Germans. War killed 309 Germans and millions more. I was simply the instrument. If there is guilt, it belongs to war, not to soldiers. One young woman history student, age 23, stands before statue, reading about Lyudmila Pavlichenko, the cognitive mapping technique, the mental battlefield modeling.
She wonders, could I have done what she did? And somewhere, if Lyudmila could answer, she might say, wrong question. Right question is, could you live with what you have done? Could you remember 309 faces forever? Could you see battlefields everywhere for rest of your life? Could you carry that weight? That is real question. Killing is easy when survival demands it. Living with the killing that is hard part. I killed 309 men. I survived war. But I never escaped Sevastopol. It lived in my mind until the day I died. Perfect memory. Perfect burden. The gift that kept me alive became the prison I died in. The historian who saw patterns everywhere eventually saw patterns in her nightmares. The gift that kept her alive became the burden she carried until death. That is the price of exceptional memory in warfare. You remember everything, forever. And forgetting becomes the impossible dream you chase until your final breath.